Exploring the Unseen, a journey into the world of ghosts. The old, decrepit mansion on the outskirts of town had always been the subject of much speculation and rumors among the locals. Some said it was haunted by the ghosts of its former inhabitants, while others claimed it was the site of unspeakable horrors and dark, occult rituals. But despite the warnings and the eerie atmosphere that seemed to surround the place, a group of friends decided to explore the mansion for themselves, driven by a combination of curiosity and a desire for thrills. As they made their way through the musty, cobweb-filled rooms, they found nothing out of the ordinary. But as they descended into the basement, they began to feel a growing sense of unease. The air grew colder, and the shadows seemed to dance and writhe in the flickering light of their flashlights. And then, without warning, one of the friends disappeared, swallowed up by the darkness. Panicked, the remaining friends searched frantically for their missing companion, but to no avail. As they turned to leave, they realized that the door had been sealed shut, trapping them inside. It was then that they heard the first faint whispers and moans, coming from the shadows. As the minutes turned into hours, the friends were beset by a relentless onslaught of terrifying hallucinations and terrifying supernatural entities. Some succumbed to madness, while others were brutally murdered by the malevolent spirits that seemed to be tormenting them. But through it all, one friend remained determined to find a way out of the nightmare, even as the horrors closed in and the air grew thick with the stench of death. In the end, the sole survivor stumbled upon a hidden passage that led to the outside, but the price they paid was high. The horrors they had witnessed and the terror they had endured would stay with them for the rest of their life. The mansion remained standing, with the spirits of the dead still reside, waiting for the next unsuspecting victim to enter and face the same fate. The survivors stumbled out of the mansion, barely able to stand. They looked back at the house, now shrouded in darkness, and felt a chill run down their spine. They knew that whatever had happened inside that house was far from over. As they made their way back to town, the survivor tried to make sense of what had occurred. They knew that no one would believe their story, that it would be dismissed as the ravings of a madman. But the survivor knew the truth, and it was a truth that they would carry with them for the rest of their days. It wasn't long before word of the survivor's experience began to spread, and soon the whole town was talking about the haunted mansion on the outskirts. Some scoffed at the idea, while others whispered of dark forces at work and the dangers of playing with the unknown. But the survivor knew that the truth was far more terrifying than any legend or myth. Years passed, and the mansion remained sealed and abandoned, a dark and foreboding presence looming over the town. But the memories of that fateful night never faded, and the survivor never forgot the terror they had endured. They knew that the spirits that haunted that place would never rest until they claimed more victims, and they vowed to never let anyone else suffer the same fate. As the survivor grew older, they began to hear rumors of a new generation of thrill-seekers planning to explore the mansion. They knew they had to act before it was too late, so they gathered a group of brave men and women, armed with the knowledge of what lay within the mansion. They went back to the house to face the spirits and put an end to their terror once and for all. What happened on that night will remain a mystery, but the mansion was never again known for its haunting. The spirits were finally laid to rest, and the town was able to live in peace. But for the survivor, the memories of that night would never truly fade away, and they would always live with the knowledge of the true horror that lurked within the walls of that old mansion. As the years went by, the survivor became something of a legend in the town. They were known as the only person to have ever escaped the haunted mansion and lived to tell the tale. But the survivor never forgot what they had experienced, and they could never shake off the feeling that the spirits they had encountered were not truly gone. One night, the survivor was woken by a knock on their door. It was one of the members of the group that had gone back to the mansion with them, years ago. They were ashen-faced and trembling, and they told the survivor that they had seen something in the mansion. Something that they couldn't explain. The survivor knew what they had to do. They gathered their courage and set out to the mansion once more, determined to put an end to the spirits' wrath once and for all. But what they found inside the mansion was far beyond anything they could have imagined. The spirits had grown in power, and they had somehow managed to summon a portal to another realm. A realm of eternal darkness and unspeakable horrors. The survivor and their companions fought bravely, but they were vastly outnumbered and outmatched. But just when all hope seemed lost, the survivor remembered something they had learned during their first visit to the mansion. They recited an ancient incantation, one that was said to be able to banish spirits back to the afterlife. To their amazement, the spirits began to wail in agony and the portal started to collapse. The group quickly retreated and watched as the mansion was consumed by a bright light, and then it was gone, leaving no trace behind. The survivors returned to their homes, but they knew that they would never forget the horrors they had witnessed. They had put an end to the spirits' reign of terror, but the memory of the mansion and its malevolent inhabitants would haunt them for the rest of their days. Years passed, the memory of the mansion started to fade away, and the townspeople moved on with their lives. But the survivors knew the truth. They knew that something was still out there, and it was only a matter of time before it would come back to claim more victims. They made a pact to always be vigilant, to always be ready to face the darkness once more. They knew that the true horror was not just within the walls of the mansion, but within the realm of the unknown. The survivors continued to live their lives, but they could never shake off the feeling that the spirits were still out there, waiting for the right moment to strike again. They kept their pact, always staying vigilant and watching for any signs of supernatural activity. Years passed, and the survivors grew older, but they never forgot the horrors they had faced. They passed on their knowledge and their experiences to the next generation, hoping that they would be prepared if the spirits ever returned. As time went on, the survivors noticed that strange occurrences started happening around the town. People would disappear without a trace, and strange whispers could be heard on the wind at night. The survivors knew that the spirits had returned, and this time they were more powerful than ever. They quickly gathered the new generation of survivors and set out to the location where the mansion once stood. To their surprise, they found that the mansion had reappeared, as if it had never been destroyed. The survivors knew that this time, they would have to be more prepared than ever before. They searched the mansion from top to bottom, looking for any clues or weaknesses that they could exploit. And they found it, a hidden room deep in the basement. Inside, they found an ancient book, filled with powerful incantations and rituals that could banish the spirits once and for all. The survivors knew that they had to act fast, before the spirits could claim more victims. They gathered all the strength and courage they had and recited the incantation from the ancient book. To their amazement, the spirits began to wail in agony and the portal started to collapse. The group quickly retreated and watched as the mansion was consumed by a bright light, and then it was gone, leaving no trace behind. This time, the spirits were truly gone, and the town was safe once more. The survivors had saved the town, but they knew that the spirits would always be out there, waiting for the opportunity to return. They passed on their knowledge and their experiences to the next generation, hoping that they would be prepared if the spirits ever returned. And so, the cycle continued, as the survivors kept watch, ready to face the darkness once more.